In this episode, I'm going to review the Spyderco Enuff Salt Sheepfoot Knife. That's a lot of words. It's basically the Spyderco Enuff series as a rescue knife for whitewater paddlers. And I just did a video about whether we should have knives in our pocket, like internally mounted versus externally mounted. And my main point was that there aren't any good externally mounted knives that are sharp. The one that people commonly use, the NRS knife, if you try to cut something with it, it doesn't actually cut rope very well. So this is, I'm trying to cut the rope. It has a great mounting device. So see, it's tricky to, come on knife, cut the rope. You know, if you're a whitewater paddler, you want to have a knife in case you need to cut some rope you're tangled in, that somebody's tangled in. It's nice to have an accessible knife to do that with. And the beauty of these NRS knives is they're externally mounted. They're easy to get to, boom, but they're not very sharp. They don't cut very well. And so I'm a proponent of knives that you put in your pocket here because the folding knives are generally sharper. They have better serrated edges and they're better made. So somebody sent me a message that says, try this knife. And every time I do a video about knives, somebody says, okay, but try this knife. So I go buy the knife. And this thing is not cheap. I bought it to try it out. I really like it. This is a sweet knife. But it's probably not something I'm going to externally mount to my PFD for a couple of reasons. One is that the thing it comes with doesn't fit through the little slot. The NRS knives, a lot of them have the right size thing to fit in here. This one doesn't, so you can't mount it that way. You got to get creative. Second of all, it has kind of a blunt tip, but it is a little bit sharp. And so if it comes out of here and drops on your foot or on your raft floor, it's going to pop it. It is, however, ridiculously sharp. Without even looking at it, I cut it without much effort. Like this knife plows through rope. That cut through most of it. It's usually one cut, sometimes like a cut and a little bit of tiny cut. This is an amazing knife for cutting rope. So if your priority is cutting rope, this thing is awesome. The downside is, where do you put it? How do you put it in your PFD? And like I said, you can kind of rig it on somewhere with this thing that comes with, but it doesn't positively lock in here. It's a good mounting device. Like, it holds on to the knife really well. But if you're active, if you're rafting, kayaking, something, and you get some friction on it, it could come out on its own and cut somebody or pop a raft. And so I think we want something that has a more positive attachment like the NRS knives do, some kind of button that releases it. This one's not bad. Now, if I'm a rescue professional, like a firefighter or some sort of swiftwater rescue technician, and I'm not generally in the water, I'm just on shore, you know, doing things, throwing throw bags, being a hero, this would be an awesome knife. You can externally mount it somehow. It's super sharp. It's rad. It's colorful. This would be a great knife for you. But for those of you that are like trying to get back in the raft, pulling yourself in, you're always hitting things, you're rubbing on trees, you're in the field being badasses, you'll probably have this thing come out eventually. Now, it stays in better than, there's that one Gerber knife, the River Shorty we all used. Those ones fell out all the time. And it stays in better than that one did. But if this one comes out, the two bummers are, it's expensive. These are like $150+, and it has a sharp kind of point thing that could cause some problems. So I think for an externally mounted river knife, for river people on the river being active, this probably isn't a great knife. The one exception I would say is that those of us that wear Astral jackets, and I don't wear mine very often anymore. I'm not a huge fan, but there's a little spot back here where you can actually mount knives. And I've seen people mount bear claw knives back there as a backup. They'll carry like an internal knife right here, and they'll carry something in here that folds that's sharp, and they'll have the bear claw ready to go. And there's a place to mount the mount that it has. And so I feel like this is probably not going to come out. It's not in your way. I feel like this is a good location for you. You can kind of see it so people know it's there. People can see you're a badass without having a big knife in the front. And you can pull it out and access it with your right hand. Right, you couldn't get to it with your left hand, so you have to, or you can, ooh, ow, I just poked myself. Gotta be careful with that pokey part when you put it back in. But this could be a nice solution, having it in here, in like this spot, but not all PFDs have that secret hidden spot. So I'm gonna say this is a sweet knife. I'm really digging it for cutting stuff. I've been using it just around the house for things the past few days. I'm super stoked on it, but as a whitewater paddler, this is not going to be my external knife solution. Although it is just butter cutting rope with this thing. I love cutting rope with this thing. It just eats it up. So I'm still going to use it for things. Those are my thoughts. If you want to buy it and you're a rescue professional, if you're a boater, probably don't buy this. If you're a you can if you want. If you're a rescue professional, want to buy it, there's an Amazon link down below. Click that link, buy it through there. We get a few bucks if you do. I appreciate the support. If you have more thoughts about this stuff I missed, things to add, questions, put that in the comments below. I'll keep this discussion going. But those are just my thoughts on this really badass knife and how applicable it is for whitewater paddling. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and be a member if you want. And we'll see you in the next show. Thanks.